Now, the photographer Terry O'Neill has captured the lives of the rich and famous through his lens over the past 6 decades. His subjects read like a who's who of the 20th and 21st centuries, from Winston Churchill to Frank Sinatra, Brigitte Bardot to Amy Winehouse. Some of them he photographed before they were famous, taking pictures of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones when they were still struggling. Not even the world's most famous spy could elude him. He's captured every James Bond from Sean Connery to Daniel Craig, a collection of images which he's just published in a new book to coincide with the release of the film Spectre. Terry O'Neill, it's a pleasure to have you on the programme.
My pleasure.
Let's start with those Bond pictures. You've seen all of those Bonds through the years. We've just had the film's release, which has been a worldwide event. What is it, do you think, from having seen them all up close, that's the enduring appeal of Bond?
Do you know, I don't know. I mean, Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson, who are the producers, they, well, after Cubby died, I mean, they've just done a fantastic job. They've kept the excitement of it. I mean, when I did the first one, which was Sean Connery, I think it was on From Russia with Love, you know, you just thought there were going to be a couple of films and it will all be over, but it's gone on for years.
Hasn't it just? And you've brought out this book with all of those fabulous images, behind the scenes, a lot of them. And it's an interesting book because it's not just a hard copy, but it's a digital book within the hard copy.
It is. It's a great idea, isn't it?
Fabulous images. Let's take a look at some of them. This one, I love.
Oh, listen, I was down the studio and I saw them on another set shooting this moon sequence from the same film. So I said to Sean, who's always up for a laugh, and anything to do with golf he loves to do, I said, let's get your golf clubs and we go and drive off on the moon and we use the astronaut as the caddy. And of course he loved that. So this was shortly after the guy had just landed on the moon. So this was a sort of a front page picture.
And tell me, was he an easy person to photograph? Was he always up for playing around?
Yeah, he was. He always went mucking around. Oh, this is a shot. He loved taking pictures as well.
Did he?
So I took that. I mean, they're all for sale, you know. So you know, this is a really good seller. People love the mystery behind this picture. I don't know why.
Well, because you can't quite tell who it is. No. Is it? Isn't it? What about Pierce Brosnan moving forward in time?
He was great. Roger was great. I mean, they were all great. Daniel Craig, George Lazenby even. I mean, he was a character, but I mean, he only lasted one movie. But
so who's your personal favourite then?
Well, I've always liked Sean. Sean, to me, you know, that's who started it all. But Daniel Craig's brought a different element to it, you know. So I really like them all, really. I mean, you wouldn't think so many variations of Bond could exist, but they all work.
What stories you have to tell, and what's so incredible to me is that you didn't actually set out to be a photographer at all.
No, it's all by accident. I was a jazz drummer, and I wanted to go to America, so I found out British Airways were just flying to New York, so I thought, I'll get a job. You know, you flew 14 hours, you had 3 days off in New York, and flew back, had 3 days off in London. So I saw this as the great future of a trans-world jazz drummer. So I joined British Airways, and you know, they said if I took a job, I'd stand a better chance of getting taken on as an air steward. So I took this job in the photographic unit. They gave me homework at the weekends. I went down the airport and photographed people saying goodbye and crying and all, you know, all this stuff, sort of reportage stuff. And I accidentally took a picture of a man who had fallen asleep in the midst of African chieftains, and it made a really eye-catching picture. You know, had a pinstripe suit on, he'd fallen asleep. A reporter saw me and said, can I have this film? Because do you know who that is? I said, no. He said, that's Rad Butler, the English Foreign Secretary. Right. I said, oh. So I sent it up, and the picture editor loved all the pictures on my roll of film, and he gave me a job every Saturday covering the airport for the Sunday Dispatch.
Incredible. So it really was just luck. And
yeah, after 3 months, I got offered a job on the Daily Sketch.
Amazing.
Which was a young people's paper. It doesn't exist anymore.
And that was when you started photographing the Beatles and the Stones before they were famous. And were you mates with all those guys?
Well, no, we became good friends because I was a couple of years older than them, and we all used to go to this club called the Ad Lib Club. And we were all convinced that this chance that had been given to us, all young people, was going to be over in 2 years.
Oh.
And we used to talk about what job are we going to get, you know, when we sort of more grown up. And, I mean, Ringo wanted to buy a chain of hairdressers for his wife to run and all sorts of different things like that. But we never, Keith Richard never thought, I mean, nobody ever thought it was going to last.
That is brilliant. And how did it happen then that you became, from a guy who thought this wasn't going to last, the person who everyone in Hollywood wanted to be photographed?
I don't know. I left the sketch after a couple of years because I wasn't happy with the way papers treated people. And when I left, the guy said to me, the day you walk out of this office, you're finished. This paper's made you, and without us, you're finished. And I just hit the phones and rang up everybody, and suddenly I had a chance to go to America, and I met, you know, all the people
Frank
like Fred Astaire. Yeah,
one of them,
Sinatra.
this photograph we can see in the background, that is iconic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That was the very first. I mean, Ava Gardner, I became friendly with, because I started working a lot around films after that, and I became friendly with her. And I said, I've got a chance to photograph your ex in a movie you know, in a movie he's making in Florida. And she said, oh, I'll write you a letter. She wrote a letter, and I'm waiting for him to come on the set. And this was the very first time I'd ever seen him. And I thought, my God, what have I got involved with here?
Gosh.
I mean,
the heavies.
Anyway,
Like,
so he comes up, and I hand him the letter, and he reads it, and he says, the guy's right, he's with me. And I was for the next 3 weeks, and I learned more in that 3 weeks about how to act with a major star. He let me go everywhere with him. He was great to me. And
his body doubles in that picture together with his mind.
Yeah.
What about that wonderful one of Brigitte Bardot? That's one that everyone knows is yours as well,
that was the last frame of film. Last film on a frame of 36.
Right.
And I thought, shall I press the button? And the wind blew, and I hit it, and it turned out to be a winner.
Gosh, and of course it was film in those days.
Yeah.
How different it is to today, isn't it? Because everyone's taking photographs these days.
Yeah, they are.
Putting them on Instagram.
Yeah, selfies.
Indeed. Do you think the art of the photographer is dying? Would you have done this
job
now?
No, actually, it should encourage people to be more, but I just don't know. It's not the same world anymore, you know. I mean, I don't enjoy taking pictures anymore today. There's nobody, first of all, there's nobody I want to photograph. I think everyone's making comic book movies, and they're not making great movies, and there's not the great actors. And, you know, I've shot Paul Newman, Clint Eastwood, you know, Robert Mitchum, John Wayne, everyone I've photographed. But they were all different men, and today they just haven't got it, I don't think.
And what about Elton John? Because those photographs of that concert.
Yeah,
tell me the story behind that.
Oh God, he let me go on the stage. You know, that was the height of his thing. And I got up next to Ray Cooper, who's the percussion drummer, and he let me up there. And in fact, after about an hour, he said, "Oh, in case you're wondering who the photographer is, it's Terry O'Neill. He gets in everywhere."
Yeah.
I mean, it was so much fun.
That
I've had a great life.
Unusual.
I tell you, I mean, I can't complain about anything. In fact, we're giving one of those James Bond books to him for his AIDS thing at the next year's Oscars.
The AIDS Foundation?
Yeah, the 007 edition.
Well, it's
the number 007, because there's a limited edition of 1,000 copies. See?
Well, it's a wonderful gesture. And very briefly, you're still actually shooting on film, aren't you, unlike most photographers, instead of the digital stuff. And why do you do that?
Because I just prefer it. It takes longer and everything, but it's better.
Well, it's worth it.
Film will come back. You wait and see.
OK, we will see. Terry O'Neill for now. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.